All right, everybody, we are back with a brand new Cabral HouseCall, our second of the weekend. We answered some great questions yesterday. Hopefully you were able to tune in. If not, it was just over at stephencabral.com/3067. That'll take you right over there. We answered questions on what to do if you're not feeling well on the first day of the detox, how to easily move through it and not have to just forget it and stop it all because you know that you need it. We'll make it easier for you. Tune in to yesterday. We talked about that. We talked about one for mold and having high RA, being sick all the time, having alopecia. Like, where do you start? So I talked about that. We talked about T2 for the thyroid. Do I recommend it? Yes or no? What else did we talk about? We talked about someone getting great results on the 21-day detox and the lab results they did. And now they're wondering, should they do B vitamin injections, vitamin D injections, peptide therapy, and much more. So we talked about that. And the first one we went over is, do I recommend corn in people's diet if it's organic, yes or no? All right, check that out. That was episode 3067. Today is 3068. So if you want to read along with the questions, feel free. It's just right over at stephencabral.com/3068. All right, let's dive right in. I just opened up the Teams document, collecting the questions that have come in from Ask Cabral. And the first one is from Alice. It's A-L-E-S. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it. I could go a bunch of different ways. Alice, Alice. But however you pronounce it, let's answer your question. It says, Dr. Cabral, what do you think of PEA as a natural help with severe histamine intolerance? If everything else fails, would you recommend this compound to help with mast cells and suppress their excessive production of histamine? Is it even natural supplement like a compound or a drug? Please help me understand. All right, so great question. I've actually been getting a lot of questions on PEA. I'll probably do a Friday review on it, so definitely stay tuned as I kind of review the product. It's not a product that I usually use in my practice. However, there is uses for it, and you could use it. The problem is that it does not get at or work on any underlying root cause. So could it be used for kind of turning the mind off at night, helping with sleep, helping with mastocytosis or mast cell granulation? The answer is yes. And now that I said mastocytosis, I have to give you my little disclaimer. I can't provide any medical diagnosis, medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical advice of any type. But what it can do is help you find the underlying root cause, which is really what we want to do, right? So I have so many shows on histamines and mastocytosis and mast cell activation syndrome that I definitely recommend that. So check out those shows as to how to get to the bottom of it. I used to have that. I had mastocytosis, right? So I had the massive histamine reactions. My body definitely moves towards that. It's more Th2 dominant. There's no doubt about that. But what I had to do, this isn't for everybody, but I had to get rid of the high levels of mercury. I had to get rid of the candida overgrowth, the H. pylori, and the SIBO. Then I had to seal up my gut wall. And then over time, all my allergies went away. All my histamines went away. Now, do I still have the proclivity towards high mast cells? Sure, but everything's in check. So, that's the nice thing. So in the short term, could you use PEA? Potentially, right? So it's a naturally occurring fatty acid. However, it's taken as an extract at high dosages in PEA supplementation. So it's just something to think about. But yes, it has actually been shown in research to help with histamine intolerance or overactive mast cells. So again, for potentially a short period of time, you might try that. We don't. We use the alkalizing vitamin C, and we used Histpro. So Histpro, Histpro, is used by tens of thousands of people all over the world and practitioners as well. And what it does is it helps with histamines. So it is quercetin and stinging nettles and peril and so many other great things. And then we use that with vitamin C. So 2 capsules of Histpro 3 times a day. And then typically we take anywhere between 2 to 3 grams of vitamin C per day as well for those individuals, while of course working on the underlying root cause. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. Let's see. Sarah's up next. I've had recurring UTIs and wondering and always have to take antibiotics to clear despite knowing how destructive they can be. This has led to recurring yeast infections. I'm about to start the CBO protocol for yeast. How do I tackle the UTIs? I've tried all the natural remedies, T-Manos, Uber Ursi, organic, or oregano, probiotics, etc., and still suffering from my only resort, which is antibiotics. Okay, so let me help with this. So CBO protocol can actually help with UTIs as well. So we want to do the CBO protocol to help with the yeast overgrowth and the bacterial overgrowth, but then when you're done with it, you also want to do the CBO finisher. Now, we also want to understand is like the remedies that you're doing are remedies when you have the UTI, but they're not necessarily preventative per se. Now, some things that can help are using vitamin C, a little apple cider vinegar, 1 or 2 tablespoons per day, cranberry extract. You can put cranberries in your smoothie if you wanted to. True, all of that's true. But it is also making sure that your intestines have what's called flora. That's a microbiome. Well, the vagina also has flora, right, which is called the vaginal flora. And if it's not acidic enough, it will not kill bacteria that's coming in that may also then move up through the urethra and cause urinary tract infections. So we have to take that into account. So some women use a little coconut oil as kind of like a little salve. They may use a Lactobacillus acidophilus vaginal suppository, but you just want to make sure that not only the internal is balanced, but the external as well. I've got a few podcasts on this as well, and always happy we can point you in the right direction for that too, just by writing at cabralsupportgroup.com. So I think that was your answer. Yes. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. And Sarah's up next. My boyfriend had a staph infection that is showing up as a rash and pimples all over his body. Dermatologists are telling him the only option is antibiotics. He also has done lab testing and is showing an overgrowth of Candida krusei. Trying to avoid antibiotic use as much as possible, especially when he has an overgrowth of Candida. He's about to start the CBO protocol. Is there anything that can be done for staph naturally, preventing it, and other washing with ACV, tea tree, coconut oil, as we've tried that? Okay, so a couple things. Staph infection is serious. Like I've said that before, staph infection is serious. So the problem is like, why would you get one in the first place? Well, sometimes you get a cut and then you're at the gym or you're doing jujitsu or you're rolling around. I mean, I know athletes that get staph infections, unfortunately, way too often. So you really need to make sure that that is good to go. The second is that too many people are using antibiotic soaps. And they're killing their skin microbiome. All right, so we just talked about the intestinal microbiome. We talked about the vaginal microbiome. Well, your skin has a biome as well. And it's naturally healthy bacteria in the skin. And we can't keep wiping that away. The problem is you take antibiotics, kills the biome there as well, right? So we have to be careful with this. So, there's a time and place for antibiotics. Yes, life-saving conditions is one of those. However, what we need to do is lay off the antibiotic soaps, and then instead we can just use natural soap, coconut soap, olive oil soap, a shea butter soap. Like there's different healthy natural soaps out there. Now, as you said, an application of ACV, an application of tea tree. Tea tree does kill, bacteria, microbes, etc. And coconut oil can be helpful as well. So, but ultimately you want to get to a place where you're not using any of those. You're just using natural oils on the body or natural moisturizers with a shea butter, something like that. That would be all natural, would be totally fine. I think that answers your question. But after you do the antibiotics is when you do the CBO protocol. All right. So, and then you would do the CBO finisher. You can even do it at the same time to heal and seal that gut wall even faster instead of waiting till the end if you'd like. All right. So again, you wrote in about 10 weeks ago, 11 weeks ago as well. You can always ask these questions if you'd like at cabralsupportgroup.com. All right. All right, let's get to Jim's question. Jim says, hello, Dr. C. I can't thank you enough for all the hard work you put into these podcasts. I binge listen whenever I travel. Thank you, Jim. Happy to help that whenever you have a question, but also I appreciate your support of the show. It really does mean a lot to me. And so I love what I do. All right, so your question is, I've searched but can't find anything on post-exertional malaise. I've been dealing with a variety of health issues from Hashimoto's, most recently toxic mold poisoning. I'm currently doing your mold protocol, and I'm having some really bad flare-ups that are very similar to the ones experienced a few years ago. To describe what happens, it's as if I'm battery-powered robot and my battery goes dead. I can literally feel my body shut off like my battery's been drained. I've had the virus twice, so I looked into long COVID and ran across PEM. I checked all the boxes for the symptoms, but how can I verify it is this and not the mold? All right, so all of this stuff, and Jim, this is not on you, all of this stuff is just word soup, not from you, but from conventional medicine. Post-exertional malaise, it's not a diagnosis. It means you get tired after exerting yourself. These are ridiculous phrases that conventional medicine puts together. Ridiculous. Even long COVID is ridiculous because we've known what it is forever. And it's post-viral inflammatory syndrome. And even that is ridiculous. It means your body's inflamed after having a virus. Yes, we know that, right? But what is the underlying root cause? The underlying root cause is that your immune system is imbalanced from the mold it's been fighting for years. And then when you got the virus twice, it became even more depleted and imbalanced. So what do? We stop looking up things like post-exertional malaise. And again, I'm not putting this on you, Jim. But what we do is we get to the underlying root cause. So what is the underlying root cause? You have to run the big five. Like, you don't have to run them with us. You can run them with any integrative health practitioner level 2, but you have to run the big five because we have to know the underlying root causes, right? So you don't need to run the mold. You know you have mold. But do you know your vitamin and mineral levels? Do you know your omega-6 to your omega-3? Do you know your cortisol levels? Do you know your free T4, free T3? Do you know your vitamin D levels, right? Do you know your testosterone and DHEA? Do you know your food sensitivities? Because if we don't know any of these things, we have no idea what the underlying root causes are. That's why the big five matter. They really do. And I'm not trying to sell you anything. This is just the way that I got well, and millions of people get well around the world from these mystery-based illnesses. You have what's essentially called myalgic encephalomyelitis. And I have tons of free podcasts. Jim, you know obviously about the podcast. Look up myalgic encephalomyelitis. I know it's a word, a mouthful as well. If you can't find the shows, you can just type my name in, Stephen Cabral, and then myalgic encephalomyelitis, or ask at cabralsupportgroup.com. Michelle's amazing. She'll find you the shows. She'll find you exactly what they are. That's what essentially this is. But again, I can't give you a medical diagnosis, medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical advice. But we can fix this. I fixed it with me. With Addisons disease and chronic fatigue syndrome, chronic fatigue immunodeficiency syndrome, and you can fix it too. You really can. But we need to know what to work on, because if we don't know what to work on, then we're always just saying, oh, we'll try this, we'll try that, right? And the flare-ups can literally be too much die-off, a Herxheimer reaction from the protocol, so we know to do a little bit less as needed, or it could be other things that are also going on in your body beyond the mold, right? All right. So I hope that that's helpful, Jim. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support of the show. And I want to help you get well. So like, it's not even tough love. Like, I just want to help you get well. And I know that saying, oh, I'll try a little bit of this vitamin C and vitamin D and zinc, that'll help. Well, that's not what you need, right? You need a full personalized plan. That's ultimately what helps. All right. Amanda is up next and last on the show today. So Amanda says, hello, just wondering what to do for a 3-year-old with very inconsistent bowel movements and pellets. Tried high-dose vitamin C, magnesium citrate, oxy powder, high-fiber diet, castor oil packs at night, energy work, osteopath, Epsom salt baths, prunes, pears, etc. Diet is on point, only choline and ghee, butter trigger bowel movements. Okay, good to know. But if I stop these, then it gets irregular. Any advice on supplements, tinctures, or foods that support bile flow? Any advice on how to correct these bowel issues for a toddler, or where to start? Thank you so much for all your help. All right. So in a toddler, I'm not looking for a 3-year-old to really get bile flow going to a great degree. I'm looking to figure out what's going on. What is going on with this gut microbiome? So for a 3-year-old, we could run the Candida metabolic and vitamins test to see if there's any yeast overgrowth, to see if there's any bacterial overgrowth, or we could just start with supplementation. The first probiotic that I may recommend is the Clean Gut Probiotic. Now, we would only use a half a capsule. That's it. And then we'd work up. And you could just put it in water or whatever your child's drinking. You can just literally mix it in there. That would be the first start, right, is to look at that gut microbiome as to what exactly is going on, right? Because you're doing all of these natural laxatives. So I can't give you more natural laxatives, right? But what can we do? Well, we can begin to look at why that peristaltic movement isn't the way that it should be. So I'd want to work on what's called a constipation massage. You can look that up on YouTube. It's basically just clockwise, working out from the belly button and then around in a circle and helping to trigger that peristaltic movement. Okay, so clean gut probiotic would be the first. And I would probably add to that some L-reuteri liquid probiotic drops. Those are already in the daily probiotic support, but you wouldn't start those until a month after the clean gut probiotic. And you could work from a half a capsule up to a full capsule of the clean gut probiotic. And then you'd move over then to the daily probiotic support, which has more of the L-plantarum and the L-reuteri, which I'd want you to get in at least for 1 month with the child as well after that. Same thing, half a capsule, work your way up to 1 capsule. Adults use 2 capsules. Kids can just work up from a half to 1. So that's where I'd start. All right. So hopefully that was helpful, Amanda. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate. Oh, one more thing. And I would add an omega-3s, just a little bit, just a little. All right. Just a little bit for the inflammation and help with the gut. And that would be like 1/4 teaspoon. It would be a very small amount of daily liquid omega-3, but you'd start there, and that could potentially be very helpful as well for the gut and for the nervous system too. All right. All right, everybody. Appreciate your support. I love you tuning into the show. It means a whole lot to me. Love being able to see your questions. And we'll be back, of course, with a brand new week of the Cabral Concepts coming up tomorrow with our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Don't miss it. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.